welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurship Uncovered, the 3 things you ought to know. I'm Gabby Luoma, CPA, CGMA, and CEO of Mod Ventures, and I will be facilitating and joining in this discussion with Heather Noteboom. She's a controller here at Mod Ventures, and we're so happy to have her today. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know a little bit about Mod Ventures. Mod Ventures is a virtual accounting and advisory service firm. We help entrepreneurs organize, create, and predict their financial future. Hi, Heather. Thanks so much for joining me today. Very excited to have you and talking about automating your accounting. I mean, this is something that we specialize in and do every single day, looking for better ways to do things. And I don't want to say take shortcuts, but I mean, shorten the amount of time that we're actually spending on the transactional type of work so that we can do more advisory work. So it's a very important topic in our industry, and it's important to our clients as well. So I'm excited that we get to chat about this today. So Heather, give us a little bit of background of who you are and, why we're having this conversation.
All right. Well, as Gabby mentioned, my name is Heather. I am married to my husband, Brian. We've been married for about 6 years. We have 2 girls, Ariana, who is 16, and Kendall, who is 3. We live in Michigan. I was born and raised. I have a master's degree in business with a concentration in accounting. I have over 10 years of experience in accounting. I've been with Mod for just over a year. And in my free time, I enjoy traveling, hanging out with family and friends, and reading a good book.
Right. So I'm going to ask you, what is the last book that you read? Like, are you into business books or novels? Which one?
Okay, so I love personal development, but I've been sidetracked with the Colleen Hoover books for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I've got sucked into that, and I think I've finished about 6 of her books already this year. So I just finished Maybe Someday. So now I'm just starting Maybe Now. It's like the sequel to that one. So great author. She really, grabs your attention, and like I'm to the point where I can't put the book down because of how she ends the chapter. So yeah. But other than that, I like PD books. Always striving to increase my own mental and, driving those to get those goals, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, to be a leader, you have to work on yourself, and we definitely look to you to be a leader in our firm. So thank you for doing that professional and personal development. Yeah, it's so great to work with people who value, growing in their profession and growing themselves. I think 99% of your success as you grow as a leader or a business owner is how well you understand and know yourself. And I've seen, and myself, I've made mistakes because, I didn't know. And so personal development is so important as you grow in your profession.
Yes, I agree.
And as a person, so I love that you're into books. So I am too. I love it. So great. I'm so glad to be talking to you about this because I think this is something that is newer. Although you've been with Mod for a year, this is a newer concept for you. You were in accounting, you were doing all the things, but we really, really focus on really streamlining processes. And so we've brought a number of tools to your attention and really have broadened your understanding of how technology can help you do your job better. So very excited about this conversation. So let's get started. And why, the very first thing that people ask us is, why do we want to do this? And we always talk about time savings. We talk about, being able to essentially automate easier processes, things that why do we want a person with a master's degree doing? And so give me a little bit of your, why you think this is important to business owners.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with time. I mean, we we never have enough time, it seems like. And so if we can find a system or a software who can do some of the day-to-day tasks, such as, categorizing bank feeds, or, receipt tracking, or any little thing that would necessarily be very time consuming, if we can have a system or software do it for us, that's only giving us more time to be readily available for our clients, whether it's for advising them, helping them with their decision making, or, just being there for them to lean on you when they have questions. If
Yeah.
we are buried in the day-to-day processes that we can automate, we find it harder to be there for them. And with our firm, for instance, we want to be that advisor. We want to, help the leaders make very sound and good decision making. And another feature of automation is having the information readily available. It's not just sitting there until someone gets to it, it's being done in the background, so you can just go in and pull reports, and you can have that off the cliff meeting if you need to. So there's many benefits as to why automation is beneficial to a firm, or even just your own work, your work staff.
Yeah.
It cuts down that tedious stuff, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because my daughter, she's a influencer, plant influencer on YouTube, and she mentioned Notion multiple times. And I'm like, that's an automation tool that helps you be more productive and organize and plan better. And so, you know, there's all kinds of tools out there and all kinds of different processes that can be better by the use of technology. And so I think, this is a big part of our why, and why we tackle things like RPA and automation. So let's get into some more specifics. You talked about time efficiency, and why do you think we need more time, Heather? Why?
Well, we don't have enough to begin with. So, it's in our firm, we like to free up as much time as we can to focus on the next level stuff, the bigger items. And we are so consistent on looking for new ways for each of our clients. Every client we have is different, and so their needs are different. But as we're diving into it, we're finding that there are tools that pretty much meet every need out there, that can somehow make a process less time consuming, more efficient, more accurate.
Right.
Time is huge, and time is money. So
Right.
the more time you can save, the more money you're saving. So
Yeah.
yeah, time is huge. It's a
Yeah.
huge benefit.
Yeah. And I think that, when you're talking about time is money, it's definitely is, and like the slower you go, and the less technology you might have, this you definitely you just move slower as a company. And so it's very, very difficult to innovate. And so there's opportunity costs to not adopting automation. And I think this is something that a lot of business owners forget, is that, you know, they may be stuck doing some tedious work and doing things that are below their pay grade.
Mhm.
Just quite honestly, they can have an assistant do it, or they can automate it. But you're missing out on opportunities if you are not taking advantage of, RPA and automation, and using tools to really help them get ahead. So there are consequences, there's time spent and lost. And so, keep that in mind as you're, building your business. How much automation do you want to adopt, and how much time do you need to save? And it can really help too with those delegated tasks that you're, if you're wearing lots of hats, it's super helpful to have good technology for you. The next thing that we really love as accountants is accuracy. So Heather, tell us about what you found in accuracy as far as adopting RPA.
Yeah, so with the systems that are automating tasks, it is not putting that task, that particular that task in an employee's hand. So ultimately it's eliminating a room for error, so like when I talk about accuracy, something that comes to mind, a form of automation is rules. So we use QuickBooks Online, and you can set up rules that will automatically categorize transactions out of your bank feed. So when that transaction comes in, you can set up a rule and it's just going to automatically go to the account that it should go to. If we did not have that rule, and maybe someone was working on a file that they weren't familiar with or something, they could potentially, categorize that to an incorrect account. So that is cutting down time because it's being done for us. It's cutting on time because the rule has already applied it and we don't have to go back and change it if it was incorrect. So, it's not only time saving, it is also an added benefit of accuracy because there's less chance of error if a system is doing it the way you told the system to do it.
Right. Right. So I love this part. This to me is like gold. Setting up a system that can't be affected by human error. I mean, it's just like, it's gold. It's gold for accountants, it's gold for most people, who are doing work, because you want to be able to rely on results. And so we also use another software called Auto Review, and that Auto Review helps us with the review of these files. So once it goes through the automation of, the rules and all of that, then at the end of the day, we're doing also accuracy checks with a tool, and making sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. So with the use of automation, where we would have spent, an hour in review, it really has cut the time in half. And, it's inexpensive for us to invest in something like that and still feel like we're getting those types of results. So you've used Auto Review before.
Yeah, and actually, until you mentioned it, it kind of slipped my mind. But that has been kind of gravy to us because it's pulling anything, or flagging rather, anything that could potentially be an issue. And they're not always issues. You can sign off on them once you dive deeper and see like more detail as to what the system flagged. But it's definitely a good tool to have when looking for accuracy, because it's looking at trends. It's looking at your monthly expenses that you typically have, and will flag if one month is out of sync, or if there's duplicate names. I mean, there's so many things that Auto Review is catching that maybe the human wouldn't when they're reviewing it. So on top of accuracy for us, it's also providing that extra level of comfort, I guess you could say, to our clients, because we are going the extra mile and making sure that our work is, accurate in all that we do.
Right. Yeah, it's been a real eye-opening thing. And I think we've only been really utilizing it on our top tier clients for probably the last, maybe 3 or 4 months. But I think we're learning a lot about some of the human behavior, and also seeing where we can make corrections on their work. So it's very, very helpful to pull out a lot of different data and make those corrections ahead of time so that we can be more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So the types of automation, and we already talked about a few things, but Heather, why don't you fill us in on a few things that came to mind when we were putting this together?
Yeah, so as you see on the slide, so Dext, that is a receipt tracking that I use with a handful of clients, especially larger firms that have many credit card holders. It's an easy way for them to just, even with their phone, take a picture of the receipt, it uploads it to the system, and it helps us and my team members when coding the transactions, because we have it right there in front of us. We can review it, and they can even code it in Dext as to what account it should be going to, or kind of give us some more details on what it's for. Some clients use Dext for expense reports, for like their employee reimbursements. So it keeps it all in there. There's a level of approval, and then we can, put it in their system to be paid, which brings me to bill.com. A lot of clients that use Dex, use bill.com as well. So bill.com is really accounts payable and accounts receivable. You can receive payments and pay out. I mostly work on the AP side of bill.com. So vendors can email their invoices right to bill.com. And we have a gal that then takes it from the inbox, makes it into an invoice, and then we have our approval process. So that looks different for all different clients, but it's just super easy to have the invoices go right to that rather than everyone's different emails, less chances of it getting lost. And then it's bill.com will sync right over to your QuickBooks or another accounting software. We do use QBO, and there are a lot of automation features with that, such as importing client list, vendor list, customer list. That can all be done. They can also be exported out if you needed exported out for a reason. We touched on creating rules. So creating rules is it's a godsend, honestly, because it takes out the tedious work that we mostly use it for like reoccurring stuff, because that expense is coming all the time. You create a rule and it will automatically apply it for you. I just recently did my first automated payroll through QuickBooks. I had 2 clients that were salary, so that's cool. We just set it up, and now it's one thing that me and the owners of that firm, we don't have to worry about, unless there's a change that comes up. We don't anticipate any issues, but if there were, we'll look into it. Also with QBO, the bank feed. So having the bank feed connected right to your bank or credit card, it pulls in all those transactions, I think multiple times a day, or you can go in and refresh it. It tends to be a lot more of a hassle if you have to go out and download those transactions and import, with a file. So just having the automation it sets the stages, and it kind of just puts things in motion a little bit quicker than having to go and get it yourself. We're always looking at new ones. A new one that I'm starting to look into is LedgerSync, which is automatically imports financial documents. And we're going to look into it for a specific client for banking. It was to view the checks and the different transactions for a bank. So those are the ones that I use pretty much on a daily basis, and each of them has saved us a lot of time when it comes to different accounting functions that clients come to us with help for. And by just having those, I'm able to help them and advise them in different ways that I wouldn't be able to if I was spending time on these different tasks, because they're already being done for me.
Right. Another thing I want to mention, and honestly, we've been using LedgerSync for quite some time, but the thing is that software changes over time, and it gives you new usability and new features all the time. And so that's one of the things with LedgerSync that we were just like, oh, it'll pull checks for us too, so we're learning about the things that it'll actually do for us, so that we can always be utilizing things in a more efficient way. And then there's also Divvy. Divvy is newer to us. It's actually owned by bill.com, but Divvy is like having a separate credit card where you can set a budget for specific people within the firm. And then you can, it's all on your phone. So basically you have a credit card, you buy whatever you're going to buy, let's say lunch, and then you load that credit card right on the Divvy app, right on your telephone at that time. It gives you an alert. So it really, if you're working with reimbursements, and this is becoming a big part of client advisory services, is expense management. And so having to, deal with chasing down receipts and chasing down people to get, reimbursement and all these different things is a time suck. And so, how can you reduce that the amount of time between getting the receipts and payment. So Divvy is a great tool that we actually just started using for when I go out and I'm having lunch or I need to stay in a hotel or whatever. All that information can be loaded right into to my phone. And Cindy, our finance director, doesn't have to chase me for that. So, so it's beneficial for us. And to be honest, we test out a good portion of these softwares before we use them on clients. So we have experience with them. And we're always experimenting. So, and I think that's a good part of being in business is always experiment and always look to see if there's something else out there that can be really helpful in time savings and efficiency and you know, to give you back some time in your day, because everybody needs time.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
really what that's really what Mod is about, right? We're here to help business owners have more time and also provide information. You know, it's about organizing and creating and helping them predict their future. And so without this automation, I think that we would have a very, very difficult time even doing our job. So it's very, very valuable to the businesses that we work with. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. We have to use technology and be always looking forward. So that's just our philosophy at Mod. So Heather, is there any last thoughts that you have regarding automation and repeatable processes that, you know, you think our clients or maybe future clients or business owners that are out there in the world are just looking for a little advice? Last thoughts.
Yeah, I think if you are finding that you don't have enough time and there's things that, you want to try to find more efficient way is first figure out where you're spending the most time. Like where can time be alleviated? What would make your workflow better? Where could it improve? And I'm sure that there is a software or a system out there that can help in that area because there are so many out there. And as Gabby said, they're just continuing to change and improve over time.
Yeah.
That you have to use technology. I mean, technology is all over and all around us at all times, and it's just continuing to grow so quickly. And I mean, who knows where we'll be in 10 years from now or what technology will do for us. So, yeah, I think it's definitely something that you have to lean on, now because it's just going to continue to go that route, technology. So it has definitely improved many things here at Mod and, saved all of us employees time. It's definitely helping with accuracy. So we're just always striving to do better and be better for our clients. And we're finding a lot of that in the automation and the technology that's out there to help us do that.
I could not have said it better myself. Well, the three things you should know, to end this note is, again, the time efficiency, the accuracy, and then just the types of automation that's out there. Every business is different. So, take a look at maybe what tech stack would go with your industry well and, dive down. And if you need help, we're here to help support you in that endeavor. And so this concludes our conversation, Heather. But if anybody needs to get a hold of us, we're going to use this QR code. I couldn't remember what this was earlier, but this is a QR code. And if you want to email us, you can email us at info@modventuresllc.com or give us a call at 520-572-1248. And I think this is to all of our social media. So check us out on Instagram, of course, YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.